This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader who's going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it is totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Before we get into our episode today, we just want to thank and welcome Timothy Starner to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. We also want to recognize Dave Anair for increasing his pledge over at patreon.com/The Wheel Weaves podcast. Thank you both for your generosity, and we're really excited to have your support. In this episode, we are talking about chapter 22 of The Great Hunt.
And it's called Watchers.
Watchers.
It's a little bit different.
It was not what I thought it was going to be.
I was going to say, between that and the chapter image, it's like, what is this chapter really about?
Yeah, so the picture is of the dagger.
Yeah.
Like the big dagger picture.
Yeah, and the last time we saw that was in chapter 3, which was Friends and Enemies. And that's when we got, like, Rand running around like crazy, trying to figure out how to escape. And then we got that Fane little deal at the end.
Yeah.
And now we have Moiraine as a perspective.
It's
so okay, so we'll have to talk about that when we get into it.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. This is a very talky chapter.
Yeah, it is. And
it's one of those chapters that when you're reading, you read and you just keep going and you don't really talk about it.
Yeah, for the record, you totally call this chapter boring.
It was boring.
But that's because of the quantity of information we get, so.
It was boring to take notes on.
Yeah,
and I get that. It was a lot of he said, she said, he said, she said, she said, she said. And so that part wasn't fun.
Yeah, and it's also tough because you get to like read 10 pages and then you have to stop and then we have to do notes and record. So yeah, adds to it.
Okay, start us off with something.
Yeah, so this one's kind of fun because it's a bit of a callback to one of the bonus episodes we did in Eye of the World, which was the episode on Shadow Spawn. Because we had just been introduced to the Drakkar, which we get to see. Yeah, we get a lot more information on the Drakkar.
Yes, we do.
So when we first did that Shadow Spawn, we really didn't talk very much about it, but I had mentioned...
Yeah, because all we had seen was that...
It was flying overhead.
It flies overhead, and it calls out.
Yeah.
And it was basically like the little tracker.
And it's got big leathery wings or something. Like we heard that, bat wings. So, and I had talked about how Drakkar is very close to Dracula, so it's kind of like vampiric... in nature.
Definitely.
So I had to look out some fun facts on vampires and how that all came out.
Okay, I like that because there's definitely a root to this whole Drakkar thing.
Yes. And once we get the description in this chapter, it's like it kind of makes a lot more sense. Like it kind of seems like a vampire.
Yeah.
It's not a vampire, but it's close.
Yeah.
But basically, vampires came up in European folklore, and they're typically like undead creatures, obviously, that visit loved ones, and they cause either mischief or deaths in the neighborhoods where they were alive. But the interesting thing is that how we know vampires today, they're like charismatic and like light-skinned, and, they're Brad Pitt and sexy.
Well, and yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of an older movie reference.
But... I was thinking more like Twilight.
Yeah, okay, Twilight.
That's really
Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
That's really where it was very sexualized, the whole vampire fantasy thing.
Are you telling me in Diary with a Vampire you weren't a little bit attracted to Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh my god, okay.
But I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And like Tom Cruise, and everyone's really young.
Yes, everyone is really young because it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But typically vampires wore shrouds, which was like the clothing or cloth they were wrapped in when they were buried. And they were typically described as bloated or of like a reddish or dark complexion. And they're a lot different than like, charismatic and light.
Vampires that we...
Yeah, so they're just like bloated corpses, and where a lot of the stuff about how vampires, came into mythology is that they think that it's rooted in people's like not understanding what happens to a body when you die and like it decomposes, because it's a lot different than people would sometimes think, and they didn't understand it. So the bloated corpses and like the different complexion, it kind of drew into what vampires traditionally were,
Zombies.
Which was like... Zombies, yeah, exactly. They were like zombies first.
Yeah.
but that's kind of where it came into. And then the like what we know as a vampire today, that came because there was a short work of literature in 1819 called The Vampire by an English writer named John Polidori, And then in 1897, that's when
Bram Stoker.
Yeah, Dracula came in. So that kind of like modernized the vampire.
Yeah, I was going to ask about if it really was Bram Stoker's Dracula that sort of changed things about vampires specifically. The whole Transylvania.
Yeah.
You know, sucking your blood and
so, I mean,
not
he had
going
a
into
huge
sunlight.
huge amount to do with him. But 80 years before that was the vampire. And then before that, vampires were a lot different than how we see them now. So when we look at the Drakkar, and we'll kind of get into the appearance, it's a lot more like their traditional vampire versus like the modern day.
I wouldn't say that.
In some senses, like the coloration I'm talking about.
Because it's
like,
pale.
Yeah, but it's also like blood red lips and everything. We can talk about it once we get there.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the Drakkar reminds me of like a Dracula.
Okay, all right.
Because of the whole connection to the bat.
The
vampire bat
wings
thing.
and
And being really pale. And I would say vampires have probably red lips because they drink blood.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think of it as like a zombie bloated corpse.
Sure.
That's not what I thought of when I think of the
interpretation,
okay.
right? So, yeah. Like I said, we got to wait to get there because we're not there yet.
Oh my goodness. We should just have a whole separate podcast having discussions about mythology.
Yeah. Actually, dream come true. Okay.
I know. Okay, your dream come true is talking about Wheel of Time on a podcast.
Second dream. I can have two dreams. Yeah. So let's start this chapter.
Yeah, that was a really big...
Yeah.
It ended up turning into a huge discussion. Okay, so the picture is the dagger, which is crazy. It made me on high alert right away. And then it's a Moraine chapter.
Yeah.
So I was really confused. And I anticipated her maybe, like, I don't even know, finding something to do with Matt or something to do with Fane and more death or...
Like getting some answers along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the whole Watchers thing, I know that's like from Shadar Logoth.
Yes.
And so when they were in Shadar Logoth and they're, you know, had the eyes on them, the Watchers, that's the first time we heard that. And then there were Watchers in Faldara.
Yep.
And so...
And then there's also the Watchers on Tom and Head, which we're getting like a separate distinction.
Which we're going to get into.
Yeah, so like Watchers is getting a little bit murky now.
It is. Okay. So last time Rand was heading to Cairhien. Well, actually, he's being escorted by some officer and 50 soldiers, and things really aren't going well.
Yeah, especially since Celine left.
Celine took off in the middle of the night.
To totally go to Cairhien.
She's super sketchy.
That's definitely where she's going.
And she's the worst.
Yeah.
So... We start off with Moraine here, and this is really exciting. We haven't heard from her or about her since back before Rand went through the Portal Stone. And then I put in brackets, probably.
Yeah.
It's a little iffy because what we hear about Moraine is actually from Egwene's perspective.
Yes, but she had left in Egwene's past.
Exactly.
So it's like, when does the timeline actually work? So
exactly.
Yeah.
So she had rode off with Lan. Leandrin rode off behind her, and we are led to believe right now that Leandrin had followed them.
That's what it seemed like.
That's what we're led to believe.
Yeah, because it kind of seemed like Varen had followed both of them, and clearly she did not.
She did not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm going to get into it about how I think that this whole Leandrin thing might be a red herring.
I gotta be honest, like, most of my notes for today are basically just asking
me what do you think?
Yeah, so,
that's fair.
Because I can't really clarify much. But I do want to get your interpretation.
Okay, so now we get caught up with our pal Moraine. She is in some but-nowhere village in Arafel.
Yes, did you look at where that is?
Yeah, it's like just west.
Yeah, it's one country over.
Of where they were in Faldara, in Shinar.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So she is visiting some self-isolating Aes Sedai.
Yeah, retired, basically, is what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I choose my words based on what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
They're like quarantining on their own.
Shut themselves off, yeah.
But I actually love how this chapter starts off.
Okay.
I have to note, I don't know if you noticed, but Moraine says, "Nothing is happening as I expect."
I did notice that.
Okay,
that's the first sentence in the chapter.
Yeah, but last chapter, the last thing Rand said was, Nothing is happening the way I expect.
Yes. You like that?
So cute.
Oh, that's good.
It's
okay.
such a little mirror.
Yeah.
It's just like some nice little writing.
That's some good literature. That's got to be some sort of like, he gets like a bonus mark for writing it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of mirroring between Moraine
yeah.
and her thought processes and Rand and his thought processes right now. It's almost like they're linked in some way.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also like their different interpretation of events. Like Rand thinks that Moraine is basically all-knowing.
Yep.
I would probably have to assume at this point. Like he really wants her advice on things and he wanted her to be around, but she just isn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so now the other thing I just have a little note about is we don't know when this is in time.
That's true.
There is no
like compared to the rest of the
anything.
crew. Yeah. Okay.
I assume she's probably got to this place. She stayed here for a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe Egwene and Nynaeve are already at the White Tower.
Okay.
It's safe to assume because Moraine left when they were on their journey.
Yeah.
But we also didn't get how many days on the boat it took.
That's true.
So
I mean, you can do your best to time it out. Like, how long would it take to ride from, where they were to where they are? You can try and do it that way.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Right. But then we also don't know how long they've already been there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this chapter...
Did you look for any, like,
moons?
Did you look for moon cycles, or...
Yeah, there was no moon.
There was no moon cycles.
Yeah, there's no moon. So, back to Moraine in this little house in nowhere. It's actually called Typhan's Well.
Yeah.
That's the little village.
Yeah.
And there are books and papers and pages and scrolls just everywhere all over this room. And at first, I don't think we get right away that she's in Arafel. And I thought maybe she was in some like library somewhere. And then my mind thought like Cairhien, because I know there's libraries in Cairhien.
Royal Palace is... Yeah, there's a library, so...
And then I was
None
like...
of that.
And I was like, ooh, meetup. No. So, nope. But anyway, she came here to learn some stuff because we have some elderly Aes Sedai ladies.
Yeah, old. I mean, how old do you have to be a retired Aes Sedai?
Oh yeah, old.
And we don't know yet how old Aes Sedai
except we know
live.
the ageless thing. We know for sure that they get extended years.
Yeah.
So...
But that's about it.
That's about it.
So to be retired, you're probably like the upper end of that spectrum.
Right. We get a note that most Aes Sedai in the tower don't know that these women exist.
Because they're so old.
Yeah.
And they're so, like, locked up. They're isolated from everyone else.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I mean, good person to go to for information.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Adelius, and Vandine.
Yep.
And I'm always on the lookout for new baby names.
Okay. Any of those make the cut?
No, these don't make the cut.
Okay.
No, sorry. But anytime I get a new name, I go, oh, and I test it out a little, and I go, no, that won't do. But I'm assuming that the super old Aes Sedai ladies are Brown Aja at this point.
Because of the books?
Because of the book learning.
That's not a bad assumption, and you're half right.
I'm half right,
yeah.
But they intend to write the world's history since the breaking of the world. So much information to gather and so many puzzles to solve.
Yeah, so totally like a Brown philosophy. Yes. And they are sisters.
Yeah, I was going to ask. A little bit later on, we get that they're
actual sisters.
Sisters.
Yeah.
Which is cool that they're both Aes Sedai and they're both sisters.
Yeah.
We also get that there's a super old warder with them.
Just one.
Yes.
So that's a little bit sad, probably.
Maybe.
Sounds like there used to be more.
Yeah.
But...
Well, especially because one of them is a green Aja.
Yeah.
So she probably had like a whole party of warders.
Yeah, but not anymore. Just one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Moraine is frustrated and can't find the information she needs, so she strikes up a funny conversation with Lan.
Yeah, this is great. I love this conversation.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes. Seems innocent enough.
Yeah, turns out he threw her in a pond,
mm-hmm.
which is hilarious.
Yep.
And then we get this whole backstory on Lan and Moraine, which is actually pretty cute.
It is.
Like, he can really handle her. As a woman, as an Aes Sedai, as a person.
Yeah, it seems that way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually, in a really funny way, kind of reminds me of me and you.
Am I Moraine or am I Lan?
No, you're Lan.
Okay.
You're Lan, I'm Moraine.
I honestly don't know in that situation, so.
Yeah, no,
okay.
well, I just think about the time we were arguing in Paris and you dumped a bottle of water on me.
Yeah, it was...
Because...
There's a whole story behind that.
I know, it doesn't matter. But there's a literal connection between dumping water on someone...
Yes.
And to, like, calm them down and control the situation.
There's something to be said about it, you know?
Anyway, I say this whole story is pretty cute, but I also say it's kind of boring.
It is.
I skipped through a lot of it.
One sentence I got to point out to you because it sounds like you're going to glaze a little bit.
A little bit.
So she says, and still no apology, I suppose. You threw me into a pond. Every stitch I had was soaked, and in what you bordermen call new spring.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the prologue is called
New Spring.
New Spring.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of a bit of a little hint here, which is kind of cool that in book 2.
So is she talking about a season or is she talking about a place? Is New Spring a place? Like, or is it like a body of water?
No, it's basically the time of year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they were freezing in like the new spring, but we know borderlands are like cold.
Yeah.
So even though it's springtime, it's still like cold.
Right. And so we know that there's a prequel called New Spring.
Did I say prologue? I said prologue, but I meant prequel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the prequel is New Spring, and
there might be a little bit of a backstory there.
There might be some backstory about Lan and Moiraine.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, side note, which might be why it's important for you to read the prequel before the show comes out.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole bunch about that.
There's a whole bunch, but
we're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Moiraine is just asking him all these questions really to just throw him off, and she actually wants to find out something.
Yes.
Because tricky Moiraine, with her tricky Moiraine ways...
We'll call it ulterior motives.
Uh-huh.
But we have seen this philosophy of, like, throwing people off their game by asking them questions that you think, and then, like, redirecting. We've seen this with Aes Sedai a few times.
Well, you ask them questions that they're not anticipating you're going to ask them.
Yes.
That's really what it comes down to here. And this is what she does to Lan. And so she's leading up to finding out what he thinks of their bond. And she asks him, does his bond chafe him? He's not a man who wears a leash easily. And then basically she just drops right on him that if she dies, he won't be released from being a warder. Like, I guess that's what normally happens. And instead, he will feel compelled to seek out another Aes Sedai.
Yeah, so we're going to get into, like, super murky areas here. Because just to, like, clarify a few things here, we get repeatedly throughout this that being a warder, you get certain advantages.
Yeah.
Right? The fast
but
healing,
you have
the
to,
stamina.
Like, agree to it, right?
We don't know that.
Okay.
We assume that traditionally you do have to agree to it, but we also have heard that that's not necessarily a requirement.
Yeah.
We've heard about, like, Greens bonding them, like, super young and kind of real quick, like, so we don't really know everything about that. Because that was Lyanna who was talking that way.
Right.
So, but with Lan being a man who, like, doesn't wear a leash, right, very easily, things like that, it does seem like there is a way for an Aes Sedai to literally force a warder to do something against their will. Yeah. So there's, like, an extreme amount of control that this bond seems to have. Yeah,
well, because this conversation really starts to piss off Lan, or, like, as pissed off as Lan can get.
Yes, which is like, not very, but...
Yeah, but it's showing, because Moiraine apparently disapproves of using this bond to compel Lan to do anything, or an Aes Sedai to make warders do anything.
Yes.
She, like, doesn't like that side of it, and so now this is something, and basically, if she dies, she doesn't want him to, like, waste the rest of his life.
Yes, we know Lan has this whole thing where he's going to want to go off and, like, avenge Malkier, because that's his whole mission in life.
Right, but basically he's just going to dig himself an unmarked grave in the Blight.
Which is, it's like, what are you really going to do?
Yeah.
But that's his whole deal. So Moiraine is using this, and it seems it's a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah.
Because they do talk about how, like, this hasn't happened in
400 years.
400 years. Like, this doesn't happen, and Moiraine is, like, breaking some rules here, from what it sounds like.
I'm not surprised. Like, that's what Moiraine does.
She does whatever she wants to.
She's literally the rule breaker.
Yeah.
That's what she is. So he asks her if she foresees her death coming soon, if there is something dangerous she's planning without him that will see her dead.
Yes.
And now she chooses her words very carefully in her answer, and she definitely doesn't say no.
Yeah, she doesn't say no.
She skirts the question by saying that she sees her death every day. like super political.
That's like a non-answer.
Super non-answer, cryptic. Yeah. Like that leads me to believe that she's planning something and she thinks she's gonna die soon.
So I wrote something down here. What do you think she means?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think she has like a plan to like somehow...
Maybe. Somehow what?
I was gonna say in Lan's word, like sheath the sword.
Oh, yeah. I don't really know. I just think that she knows she's getting really messed up in the Dragon Reborn stuff.
Okay.
I know that maybe if she gets caught and is stilled, then she probably doesn't get to keep a warder.
That's probably a good assumption.
So, like, maybe it's along those lines.
Okay,
and, like, maybe it's not death, but it's, like, death of their bond.
Yeah, well, she's, like, it makes sense that she's expect and plan for the worst.
Yeah.
Right? Just in case the worst does happen.
Yeah, she's getting caught up in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like, at this point, anything can happen, so...
Yeah. So, Moiraine plans to give Lan to someone named Morel.
Yep.
And...
Who's a green.
And he grimaces.
So maybe she has like
probably a bunch. Well, yeah, and we get that she has 3 warders already who she keeps in line.
I was going to say a certain reputation. Like, Lan doesn't approve by the sounds of it. So, okay.
But he says, yes, it would have to be green, or just some slip of a girl raised to a full sister.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've gotten someone who was already called a pretty slip of a girl.
We did have someone. Now, Nynaeve, if we don't remember.
It's Nynaeve.
Okay, but here's the thing, is that in this sentence with Lan saying that, do you think that he's inferring that Moiraine would give him to Nynaeve?
Maybe.
Okay, because the way it kind of reads is like he doesn't seem very happy about it.
No.
And he's saying, is it Morel or is it like some new girl who's just coming through training?
Yeah.
Like, why would...
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's actually what he's saying. He's ugh, I'm going to have to just, like, deal with some new Aes Sedai who's just been raised
who's getting
to a full
suckered
sister.
into taking me as
but
like a...
I'm just reading deeper into the writing.
Yes, okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just spying Nynaeve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't know how that works
with,
you know, if you're in love with your warder situation. Maybe she'd be a green. I don't know.
Does it work well? I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think it would work okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
They seem
to fight a lot. They seem to fight.
What?
Yeah. So it turns out that this Morel. Why can't I say that this is an easy name?
It's just Morel.
Morel. I don't think I would name a baby Morel.
No?
Either.
Well, the baby would have to be born like as a 60-year-old probably.
Really? You don't,
I think so.
I don't see it as
it sounds like an older person name.
It sounds like a medieval name.
Oh, okay.
To me, like a name that doesn't exist anymore.
It's the Myr part, like Myrtle, things like that. So it just sounds like an older name.
Okay. Well, anyways, so apparently she has promised to find a better suited Aes Sedai to pass him off to, and apparently this is where we get that the Warder's Bond has not been just like passed around like this in 400 years.
Yeah. So not only does it not get passed once, but Moiraine wants to do it like first to Morel and then to another person.
Yeah, and there goes Moiraine breaking stereotypes.
Yes, but maybe that's not a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good.
It doesn't sound like a good thing that she's doing, like, specifically.
No, and he's, like, actually angry. So.
Oh, he is, yeah. He's not faking it.
So he wants to know if she has anyone in mind for him to eventually pass on to. And then we get a little tidbit about the White Aja.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to see if you picked that up.
All logic and no heart.
Okay. What does that tell you about the Whites?
That they are logical.
All right. I like it.
That's about it.
Cool.
What did I guess White Aja were?
Oh, I didn't look that up.
I gotta go check. Okay, so I think I'm wrong.
No, okay, what'd you say?
Okay, so I had assumed that because I knew the Reds were like the Manhunters. Okay. I had assumed there would also be a faction dedicated to finding women channelers.
Ooh, okay.
And I thought the
Whites,
like
in a good way?
In a good way.
Okay.
To find new Aes Sedai.
Yeah, like the recruiters.
Yes, the recruiters. Yeah. I thought the Whites were the women hunters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think now?
I don't think that faction exists anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now that we're deeper in and we've
Yes.
seen the way that, like, everyone's like, oh my god, new Aes Sedai.
I found one.
I found one.
Yeah.
I really don't think that there's a faction that exists that's dedicated just to this, and I really think that there should be.
Okay, so the White Tower has no recruiting philosophy? Like, they have no, like, system in place?
Well, it sounds like if you're out in the world and you find one, you bring one in. That sounds to be
well,
like the only
it just
thing.
sounds like a little bit crazy that the White Tower wouldn't have like a recruiting office.
I agree.
Where they take applications and things of
I
that
agree.
nature.
That's why I thought like there was going to be a faction and I just randomly gave it to the Whites.
Yeah.
So,
but now you're thinking that they don't have any system.
I'm thinking they don't have a system.
That would be bad, probably.
Yeah, and that's probably why the numbers are so low.
That would make sense, logically. That follows. Okay.
And apparently the Whites should be on it because they're so logical.
They should have figured this out by now. Okay.
Okay, anyway.
I feel like that's a separate issue, and we're going to have to come back to it later.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
We should probably do a bonus episode soon.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
I got some ideas.
Okay. So, she is basically threatening Lan right now. That's what I felt, anyway. That she's letting him know that she has a lot of control over him. And she's basically just like gauging his reaction.
She's
to all
antagonizing him right now is what she's doing.
It's always a test with her.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
And then he catches on that he's being tested.
Yes, which
and
doesn't make him happy.
He hates it. She sees anger for the first time in him. Like she's never seen anger in his eyes with her before.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah.
So
why is she doing this? What's the game plan here?
Well, we get to that later.
Okay.
We get to what her game plan is at the end of this conversation, I think. She's definitely trying to get to the root of something.
Yeah.
She's trying to throw him off, get him emotional, and really get to like the root of a problem that she's having.
Yeah, and we know that the root of the problem is the naive thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
And so she throws back at him that in Faldara, she began to wonder if he was still wholly hers.
Okay.
And then I start to think Nynaeve.
Yeah.
And he is thrown off and thinks Nynaeve as well.
Yes. So before we move forward to this next part, what are your thoughts on Lan's bond chafing, as Maureen is calling it?
Yeah.
Do you think that Lan has,
control issue? He doesn't like the fact that she has control over him? Or?
Not necessarily. It's like the way that it's being phrased right now is that Lan has had like undying loyalty to Moraine for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're getting. 100%. He's always been there.
Yeah.
He does whatever she wants all the time, doesn't ask questions. Even if he thinks it's stupid, he'll do it anyways. He'll save her life after she does something.
Yeah.
Do you think that now with Nynaeve like coming into the picture, planting those roots, do you think that he's wanting to be released from service?
I don't think he wants to be released from service, but I do think that he's definitely second guessing some of the bond that he does have with Moraine.
Okay.
And we saw that in Eye of the World.
Okay, I was getting there and I want to see if you remember that incident.
Yeah, we saw that incident where he wanted to go save Nynaeve, even though Moraine's response,
and she had to like call him up being like, Lord of the Seven Towers,
you listen to me,
what you doing?
And so she's clearly feeling that.
Okay. And
she's clearly feeling like she doesn't have him completely anymore.
Yeah, well, his heart seems to be going.
And that's going to be really stressful for an Aes Sedai.
So here's a question.
To think that your warder isn't fully on board with protecting you no matter what. If it's between you and... We also saw him waver at the Eye of the World.
Yes, we did.
When the Forsaken showed up.
We don't know which way he went, though.
No.
He hesitated.
But
we don't know which way he went.
That's the problem. The problem was that there was hesitation.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem.
100%.
And so she's feeling that. And...
So here's a secondary question to that, because we had talked about really early on, is there a romantic thing between Moraine and Lan?
Yeah.
And we can pretty much definitively say no.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But do you think that an Aes Sedai like Moraine and Lan would be able to be functional as Aes Sedai and Warder if the Warder has a love interest like Nynaeve?
Clearly
like
not.
a wife?
Clearly not.
So what's the solution here? How do we move past this?
Kill Nynaeve.
Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, to be fair, we know Nynaeve wants to kill Moraine.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that seems to be...
Is this like a Highlander situation where there can be only one, or what?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so Highlander, there can only be one. Chop their heads off. No? Cool. Highlander, okay, anyways. So is this a situation where only one of them can exist?
As someone who is loyal to an Aes Sedai and bonded basically to protect them with their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that a love interest can exist.
Okay.
Because that would mean choosing between two people. And unless that woman is fine with never being chosen first, like maybe.
Okay.
But Nynaeve is not that woman.
Okay.
So in this scenario, no.
Okay.
This doesn't work. And I think that that's what Moiraine is stressed out about right now.
So can I get you to do a long distance prediction here on this?
Okay.
How is this going to end?
Well,
who's going to get Lan?
Well, I think Nynaeve is going to get Lan.
So what does that mean for Moiraine?
I don't know yet.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know.
heavy.
Maybe she'll like be okay with it. Maybe they'll like figure it out because she seems to have a pretty loose leash on him anyway.
Okay.
And she seems like a pretty lone.
She seems like a pretty cool parent.
Wolf. And I mean, like, the Reds don't have warders. Like,
That's
I
true.
said I can exist without warders.
That's true. Okay.
So maybe she'll release.
Could you pick up a new warder? Can you do that?
She probably could, but I don't think she'd trust anyone enough to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's like a two-way street.
Maybe
okay.
she's gonna go get herself killed next chapter.
Oh my god,
Like,
why would you say that?
Well, because she's like telling him that she's basically planned for him, you know, for after she's dead.
Oh my god, okay.
She's already planning for it, so maybe she has something planned where she's gonna go die.
Oh my god, okay. Alright.
I don't know.
Oh my god, I can't believe you put that into the universe.
Okay.
You just throw it out there.
Alright, well, anyways, so we have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
So let's get back, because Lan thinks that Moiraine is about to ask him about Nynaeve.
Yes, because she's totally making it seem that way.
And then she says, "Why did you do that with Rand?"
What?
And throws him up again.
Oh, man.
And so
okay.
she's talking about all the stuff with the Amerlin.
Yes.
When he showed up acting like a Borderlands, like, soldier.
Yeah, with his, 500 rules memorized.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
okay.
all of his, things to say.
Pour the water on the ground and say, the earth thirsts or something.
And his, Camelin Royal Kneel.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
It's pretty great. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, Lan says that Rand was like a little puppy, and if he is to be a wolfhound, he can't go before a wolf acting like a puppy, or the wolf will only ever see it as such.
Yes.
And so he felt like he had to help Rand survive, and she's like, "Oh, that's what you think of Aes Sedai?"
Yeah.
And
so, okay, does Lan have a fair point? Do you agree with Lan's philosophy here?
Yeah.
Rand needs
sure.
to step up a little bit here?
Yeah, and that's totally what he thinks of Aes Sedai. He
Yeah.
thought, he'd be sending him in for slaughter if he didn't prepare him to, throw them off in a way.
Well, and even between Moiraine and Lan, they openly admit they only trust half of the Aes Sedai in the White Tower.
Yeah.
But this is Moraine's ploy to throw him off. This is the plan.
Yeah.
So it's it's on purpose.
Yeah, but she actually does want to know, why he did what he did.
Yeah.
Because she's testing to see what sort of loyalties he has.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because they are shifting.
Was his intention to help her, help Moiraine?
Yeah.
See Rand as, the dragon and the king, and have the Amerlin and Varen see him as this, warrior soldier guy?
Mm-hmm.
Or did he do it to help Rand and basically spite the Amerlin? Because, those are two different things.
But we also have had Lan for the past, month and a half, stepping
Training
into,
with him.
daddy role, where he's being, a mentor, so...
Yeah. Well, we also get Moiraine saying that Lan knows what Rand is and what he is to become.
Yeah.
So we know that. So she's, I think, just seeing, did you do this to help my cause? Or did you do this, against me?
Yeah.
Just to help Rand kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he basically backtracks a little, regains some of his balance, and says that he basically did it to help him.
Yeah.
But the boy is Ta'Veren, and maybe...
It's not my fault, man.
He was pulled to do it. He was just doing what felt right.
Yeah. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Can't help
Moiraine reveals here that she's pretty frustrated by all this Ta'Veren stuff.
Yeah.
And she's used to being like the puppet master and controlling everything around her.
Now plans aren't going as expected.
With this stuff, it's like guiding a log through rapids.
Yeah.
And then she basically just like excuses Rand and says she needs time to be alone and think.
Yes.
So, once he leaves, she starts thinking about Nynaeve and how she put cracks in Lan's walls without even trying.
Yeah.
She thinks about how Lan is starting to share some of Nynaeve's loyalties.
To the Emmonsfielders.
Yeah, like to Rand, like helping him out and stuff. Whereas before, he could have given a shit about these farm boys.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that right from the beginning. Even like how Lan came off in Emmons Field.
Right.
Like, didn't really care much.
No, but now Moiraine connecting Lan caring for Rand to caring for Nynaeve.
Yeah.
I don't really know how fair that is.
Why?
Because Lan has spent a lot of time now directly with Rand.
That's true.
Right?
And to be fair, with all the Emmonsfielders, like, traveling with them everywhere. So.
And they've been having these conversations
Yeah.
about why hasn't he left yet and how he's feeling. And he, like, knows what he is. So Rand has been, like, confiding in him. So they have developed an actual relationship.
Yeah.
So it might have something to do with Nynaeve, but it actually might not have very much to do with Nynaeve.
That's true. It seems like it was rooted because of her.
Maybe.
And then it kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
That's how.
It seems like a genuine. He cares about Rand.
It's not just because Nynaeve cares, so I'll care.
Yeah.
Right. He cares because.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, Moiraine doesn't care for it.
And a flash of jealousy we get.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Call the Jelly School.
Yeah. I'm on the phone with the Jelly School.
See if they have a spot for Moiraine.
Yeah.
Okay, they're full.
It's a really good South Park reference.
That's fine.
There you go.
There's a fine line between being a hater and being a jelly.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like she's jealous here because she wants Lan to love her.
Yeah, it's not sexual jealousy.
No, she just wants all his loyalty.
Yeah, well, they've shared a common purpose for 20 years.
Yeah.
And being with anyone for 20 years, like on the same mission, the same, like...
Wavelength, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, that one person's kind of leading a different direction. Mm-hmm. That's hard. Like, I get where she's coming from with that.
Yeah.
That would be hard.
Yeah. So, at this point, Moiraine needs to continue her cryptic...
Thought process? Yeah.
explanation of things because Vandene comes into the room here with tea and is surprised to find Moiraine there alone. She would have thought Lan was there. But she asks if Moiraine has found what she is seeking.
Yeah.
And Moiraine says that she doesn't even know what she is seeking.
And just keep in mind, there are books everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Like, she's got everything sprawled out on the table.
Although she did say that only the pile directly in front of her, were hers.
Yeah, yeah.
At the beginning, it talked about how the room was a mess of stuff.
Yeah.
And only part of it was what she was looking at.
Yeah, part of it is her mess, but again.
Yeah, like that's...
It's not going well.
That's the state of this house. Like, that's not just her being there.
Yeah.
That's these women writing the history of the freaking world. So, we learn that Vandene is a green Aes Sedai, even though she is starting to care about learning a lot. You know, more like a brown.
Yeah.
And, like, her sister we get, and then I sort of said, oh, like, her actual sister, and yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, and also capitalization is kind of important here.
Oh, yeah,
because
that's
typically
true.
when it talks about a sister, it's a capital S, so...
Okay. So, Moiraine has books and stuff out on, like, everything. So many subjects. We get that she's looking at the Trolloc Wars, the Watchers over the Waves, the Horn of Valir, Dark Prophecies, a book on the Forsaken, and one on Shatter Logoth.
Yeah.
And so, Vandene says that there are rumors that the Horn has already been found, but she doesn't believe those rumors.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, those rumors are probably not true.
Yeah.
In what it's referring to.
Yeah. But it has been.
But it has been.
It's just a chest of books.
Yeah. This is my lady's clothes.
Yeah.
The perfect cover.
Yeah. So, Moiraine asks her if she can ask a few questions and thinks about how she must find answers without revealing too much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She still has to be careful.
Yes.
Like, yeah, loyalties are important here.
Yeah, because, I mean, even though these two old ladies don't really have a connection to the White Tower anymore, there's nothing to stop them from writing to the White Tower.
Yeah, and being like, hey, Moraine's doing
a lot of shady shit. So
she's talking some crazy things.
Yeah. But her first question that she asks is whether the prophecies of the dragon are linked at all to the Horn of Valir.
And this is funny. We talked about this like last episode, I think.
Yeah, this is more mirroring Rand stuff because he was just thinking about that last chapter.
Yeah.
Like exact same sentences and everything.
And we speculated that no, and turns out we were right.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically no.
Yeah. So Vandine doesn't know any more than we already do.
Yeah.
So then,
not helpful.
No, and then so Moraine just like goes on her line of questioning here. She doesn't really have conversation at all.
Yep.
It's like question, answer, question, answer.
Yeah.
So Moraine asks if the dragon has anything to do with Tom and Head, which is interesting because I didn't think Moraine knew about that line in the poem that was written in blood. Like, I'll see you on Tom and Head, Althor.
Yeah, because that wasn't in the poem. That was on the door separate.
Yeah.
And that's what Rand scribbled out.
Right. But why would Moraine know or be concerned about Tom and Head in any way?
So we do know that there's a lot of rumors coming in about the Watchers and something about like the strangers on Tom and Head.
Okay.
So maybe she's connecting the dots as like, is there going to be anything happening over that way? Like looking at large world events, you'd have to assume that's kind of it.
I know, but it just seems like she knows something somehow.
Yeah.
That we don't know.
Maybe she does know things that we don't know.
I think so.
I think she knows that we don't know that we know that we know.
So it turns out yes and no. Something about the translation of the word Watchers.
Yes.
And it can be translated with the like M in front of it, which actually means Watchers over the waves.
Yep.
And so the saying is 5 ride forth and 4 return. Above the Watchers he shall proclaim himself. But it really could mean that he shall proclaim himself above the Watchers over the waves.
Yeah, so it's like a slight difference, but it just kind of depends. Do you have any speculation about what this means? Like, do you have any idea what this could possibly... Like, 5 ride forth, 4 return.
Yeah, well, I was like, how many... Well, there's like, how many Emmons Fielders? And I was like...
I mean, hey, let's talk about that.
I know. But,
so we got the 3 boys and Nynaeve and Egwene.
Yeah, I know.
Are you implying that one of them is going to die?
Well, yeah, probably at some point. You've already told me that they're going to all die, probably. So
I do not believe those words ever came out of my mouth.
No, but I do think that whatever this is, the prophecy or whatever... does say it means that the Dragon Reborn will proclaim himself, the Dragon Reborn, over in the West.
Okay.
And that's what Vandine is sort of thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what she says, where she says, meaning he'll go over there, because she's been watching all of the news coming out of the West. She's been listening to all that.
All the newspapers and the radio.
Yeah. Well, all of the murmuring.
Yeah, the pigeons flying in, I guess.
So I don't know. I'm paying attention to the fact that this chapter is called Watchers.
Yep.
So this part is probably important because it's the only mention of Watchers.
Yep. And to be fair, we do know that Fane wants to meet Rand on Tom and Head. So that kind of seems like a climactic part.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, except the issue is there's half of this book left.
Yeah.
And...
Well, just think about how we got to Faldara real fast, like, in the Eye of the World, and then fought some Forsaken.
That's true. We even got to Kyriam pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe we don't get to Tom and Head in this book, because there are a bunch of other books.
That's true.
To continue
that could
this
happen
chapter,
too. So.
Or to continue this journey. So, I don't know. I think in my mind, everything will just, like, wrap up every book. But I don't think after this it will.
Okay.
Because you have told me that the first book wraps up kind of nicely.
Yeah, a nice little pretty package.
But then after, it doesn't really do that.
Okay.
So...
Again, I kind of feel like you're putting words in my mouth, but...
Anyway.
No, I can let it go. That's fine.
Okay, so I do think this is important. I don't get much from it right now.
You just don't know how. It is important, just how.
And I do think that the whole Tom and Head thing is important. If Maureen is asking about it, it's important, and it's probably because she knows some stuff that she's not revealing, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. So, because Van Dien is listening to all the news coming out of the West, specifically like Saldea, we get that Mazrim Time can channel, and that's the false dragon we heard about from Saldea.
We did, yes.
From like Leandrin or something when they were in Faldara.
Yeah, I think it was even speculated in Eye of the World. It was like rumors that there was a false dragon in Saldea.
I think we heard that when Moraine was collected to go meet the Amerlin. Okay. At the very beginning of this book.
We got the name, I think, time during that, and I'm pretty sure we had speculation in Eye of the World.
Because I'm pretty sure we got that, and then it was like, well, they're probably
fine.
Gentled already.
Yeah.
But then we get here that the sisters have not been able to corner him yet.
Ooh.
So he's not even caught. Like, he's still running around, channeling.
And Logain is all gentled back at the White Tower, apparently. Right. So
apparently.
Yeah.
Which I'm still, until I see it with my own eyes.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So, if the dragon is reborn and the horn is found, then the last battle is coming soon. And that, at least, everyone can agree on.
Yeah. Those events kind of are intertwined.
That's it. So Moraine wants to know about Shatter Logoth, but more of like nothing that we don't already know.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, literally nothing new.
Literally nothing new.
Yeah.
So then Moraine asks about the Forsaken.
But one thing I do want to bring up is Moraine has a really kind of interesting question because she says, can you think of any reason why a Fade would take something that had come from Shatter Logoth? And we have never had any mention of a Fade taking anything from Shatter Logoth. Like, we know about the whole Mordeth thing, and Moraine knows about Fane and Mordeth because of the dagger.
Well, maybe Moraine thinks that the Fade took the dagger.
And that's how Matt got it?
No, from Faldara. We know the dagger was gone.
Okay.
Matt was
gotcha.
on the ground, passed out with the dagger gone.
So she's asking why.
We know there was a Fade. We know there were Trollocs, and they know Fane was gone.
So why would they rescue Fane? Essentially, is the question.
In Moraine's mind, unless she knows more than, but I don't know how she would know more.
Yeah.
I don't know how she would know that Fane is Mordeth, because nobody decided to let her know the crazy things he was saying.
And we don't know that she got that out of him during her questioning.
We don't know that.
Okay.
We do know that she knows Fane is the Dark One's puppet.
Yep.
And is just like a lowly dark friend, like a little hound. And that's probably why they got him, because they put all of this time into, an effort into grooming him.
Yeah.
They wanted him back.
Yeah.
So, in her mind, maybe the Fade took the dagger.
Okay.
From Matt.
So she doesn't
because
really
why
even know.
would Fane, a dark friend hound,
yeah,
right, take the dagger? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because I guess she has no idea about this whole, like, Fane is now leading the Trollocs and the Dark Friends with the dagger. Like, she doesn't have any way of knowing that stuff.
She doesn't, but she's Moraine, so it's hard for me to believe that she doesn't know things.
Okay.
But to be fair, she didn't know all of this stuff before. She didn't know about the dreams until they told her about it, right? Like, there is stuff that throws her off. There is some stuff she doesn't know.
Yeah.
So...
And we also have the theory running right now that Varen and Moraine are in cahoots, right? With Swan as well, the little trio there. And we know that Varen is with the Ingtar gang, so... And she's seen, like, the Fade being killed, so maybe it's a matter of time before Varen tells Moraine about that whole situation.
Somehow gets word to her?
Yeah. It's possible, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. Because I don't actually know how they get letters to each other.
That's true. Or if there's like a magical communication system.
I don't think there's that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's the only reason I could think that she would ask why a Fade would take something.
Okay.
Because maybe in her mind, the Fade took the dagger from Matt.
Gotcha. Okay. And that would be like a huge thing. So.
Well, that would be really confusing to her. Like, why was the dagger gone from Matt at all?
Yeah.
If it's something from Shatter Logoth and Shadowspawn hate Shatter Logoth.
Yeah.
So, that could be a puzzle to her.
Cool.
Okay. So then Moraine asks about the Forsaken. She's really jumping around, kind of throwing off Van Dien. And Van Dien really has not much to say. She mentions that she doesn't know more than they were taught as novices.
Well, that in itself is a very, very cool point, that the White Tower doesn't know anything about the Forsaken.
Yeah, that's bad.
The White Tower is supposed to be like this all-knowing presence, as from what we've kind of been, painted a picture of, is like throughout the world, they're pulling strings, but the Forsaken are still like a big question mark. And they teach the novices like the basics.
Yeah, that is interesting. But then Moraine thinks about how there are these complications that still await her. And then she says, Lanfear.
Ooh, okay.
So when we heard about the Daughter of the Night returning in the Dark Prophecy, Moraine, I think, was the one who said, that's a complication we don't need.
Yes.
And so now she's mentioning again about the complication that awaits her.
Yeah.
And this Lanfear business, which really solidifies that, Selene is Lanfear, in case you were wondering.
Okay.
But,
so you're back on that bus. Yeah.
So Vandene really doesn't know anything more than they learned. And she basically says that the Daughter of the Night remains a mystery. And then she says that Lanfear was connected to the dragon, LTT, but wants to know if Moraine has any more information about the dragon. And wants to know if he's already been reborn. Because all these questions that she's asking is leading this lady to think, well, what do you know?
Well, they're not exactly like the most hidden questions.
No, they're
either.
not.
They're pretty direct.
They're pretty pointed.
Yeah.
But Moraine diverts.
Yep.
Does a dance.
Gives like a fake answer again.
And says that the Amyrlin knows as much as she does.
Yeah.
And have you received your summons from her?
Again, she's not lying. Technically, she didn't lie. So, fair game.
Yep. So when the time comes to face the Dragon Reborn, the Amyrlin apparently is going to need every Aes Sedai with as much power as he will be able to wield. They must overwhelm him before he can use it against them.
Yeah, and again, this comes back to the whole, like, what's the purpose of the dragon in the first place?
But, exactly, because they have to let him fight the Dark One, and they dare not gentle him first.
Okay.
So...
very interesting.
Yeah.
Because apparently some people think that you need to gentle the dragon, like the Reds.
Yes.
And then some people think that you have to let the dragon fight the Dark One.
Yeah.
So that was the whole division that Moraine is worried about. Like, not all Aes Sedai think the way I do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So as Vandene is musing about this, she starts to sort of talk about how the world is sort of rumbling. All these false dragons in the past couple years, some who can actually channel. Ilian is calling for the hunt. The last battle is definitely coming, and the Dark One will break free. And that's why she thought Moraine might know of some sign. And Moraine just says that he will come and we will do what must be done.
However you want to define that.
Yes. And so before Vandene goes to leave, she tells Moraine that she should do something about Lan because he is rumbling and is going to erupt.
Yes.
Maybe he has finally come to see Moraine as the woman she is.
Okay, so that's a miss.
Yeah. She is catching on to something there.
She does get the whole woman
like,
problems.
Her like green Aja,
yeah.
I understand men and their rumblings
business.
But,
much like a volcano.
Yeah, but it's definitely not about Moraine.
Yeah.
And so Moraine says, no, go away.
Yeah.
And
and we get a hint about blues.
Oh, yeah.
We do. It says, you blues, always so ready to save the world that you lose yourselves.
Right. And my blue prediction...
I'm pretty sure you said, like, secret agent.
I did say secret agent, I think. Let me find it. Secret agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is like... Yeah.
Sounds like someone who's going to save the world.
Because she was like the main character, so like I kind of get that secret agent thing. So
yeah, but at the time I didn't know Moraine was blue.
But she was wearing a blue dress.
She was wearing a blue dress.
You
I
knew.
had speculated. I wrote Moraine beside blue on this list I have in my notebook. But that was back when I was writing my notes before I was.
Well,
typing
blues
them.
are clearly the good guys, so.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so Moraine decides to go down to the garden. Something tugs at her memory, and she wants to remember something specific that Vandene had said, but she can't quite grasp it.
Yeah.
So what was the point in asking her all these things if you weren't going to...
Pay attention, take notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With exact rote memorization, remember every answer she gives.
Yeah. She just needs to, like, digest the information.
Anyway.
Give it time.
So there's a couple things I think that it could be.
Okay.
In what the conversation... Especially when I read it over the second time when I was doing my notes.
Yeah.
I was thinking... This chapter is called Watchers.
Yes.
So when Vandine goes on her ramble about pronunciation of this whole Watchers over the wave business,
okay,
I extra noted it, and I'm thinking that was probably important.
That was the part that she needs to fully...
It doesn't make a single bit of sense to me right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important.
Okay.
And I'm just picking on the fact that the chapter title is called Watchers.
Those are all very good clues. Yeah.
Also, the chapter symbol is the dagger.
Yeah.
So the other thing it could be is something about Shatter Logoth. And even though in that paragraph, it really sounded like everything we already know about Shatter Logoth, there was a sentence that said, like, the hate that basically took down Shatter Logoth, originally, they thought to use it against the Dark One.
Okay.
So that was a sentence in there I picked up a little bit that was either something I knew and forgot, or it's new information to me.
Okay.
So maybe the hate that basically imploded Shatter Logoth was originally meant to use against the Dark One.
Yeah.
That's why the Shadow Spawn is all scared of it, right? Okay. So maybe there's something in that hate can still somehow be used against the Dark One. Maybe it's some kind of weapon that can still be used against the Dark One.
It's a very, like, Lord of the Rings vibe with the one ring is Sauron's ring. Yeah. But then, like, Boromir wants to use the one ring to, fight the evil of Mordor. And it's like, how do you use the evil that was created by the evil to fight the evil? Like, it's kind of like a bit of a circle. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that really work? How would they use the evil from Shatter Logoth to fight the evil from...
I don't know.
The Dark One?
I don't know. But there's definitely something in the fact that the dagger picture was the symbol of this chapter.
So just like, again, it's one of those nuggets you gotta just tuck away?
Yeah, it is. So those are the two things that I think maybe are tugging at her memory that she was supposed to think about. Or maybe we were just supposed to get the tidbit that Maureen thinks the Fade took the dagger.
That's true too.
And maybe she was supposed to think more about the Watchers thing.
So maybe she missed it. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyways, just then, it's action time!
Yeah.
Cha-cha-cha!
Hey, just like that.
Those are my karate chops.
Yeah, I can see that, but
no one can see me. Cha-cha! Action time! So, she hears someone come up behind her, and a shadow looms of a too-tall man wrapped in a cloak.
Ooh.
And its face is terrible and terrifying.
Yep.
Big black eyes with puckered red lips, and it's all pale, and it unfolds its bat-like wings.
Yes. Giant scary monster.
Drakkar!
Yeah.
Roar.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so this thing can do a lot more than I thought it could do.
It's not just like a tracker beast.
No, it's not.
It's not just like flying. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
And it's going to suck your soul out of your body.
Okay,
yeah.
So she tries to reach for Saidar, but it's too late, and the Drakkar begins to croon.
Yes.
And its soft hum fills her, and Saidar slips away.
Ooh.
And she feels a sadness as she steps towards it.
Okay.
Like, she knows what she's doing, but she can't help but do it.
She's caught in its crooning voice.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
So we learn about the Drakkar's kiss, and about how she will be as good as dead once it kisses her because it drains your soul, then your life, and boom, does that sound familiar?
I don't know. Should I go get a shot lined up right now?
You should 100% get a shot lined up, because if I miss this one...
Oh, yeah.
The fans on Twitter would be coming for my neck.
But don't worry, because J.K. Rowling doesn't read any fantasy.
Don't worry, guys.
Don't worry. She totally didn't get this about the soul-sucking monster.
Called a kiss.
Yeah.
The Dementor's kiss.
Yeah. It's the Dracar's kiss.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Don't worry, guys.
Totally new.
Totally got it from vampire lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Go get a shot. Okay, so your pregnant wife just went and poured you a shot.
Yeah.
Because you have the cat snuggled
Under
beside you.
Yeah.
And if you get up and move, we risk the cat meowing for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, because he'll be like, yeah, it's not good.
Okay, so I just reached in to the cupboard and just picked one out at random because I think we've used all of them now.
Yes, and I like this one. It's a nice big stainless steel Kelowna, BC shot glass.
Yep, that's it.
And hopefully we'll get to go there.
Okay. Enjoy your shot on your own.
You didn't even pour yourself like a shot of juice or something.
I have like a little bit of ginger ale left.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay.
Okay.
Cheers. And cheers to the internet, people.
It's okay. You don't have a job.
I don't have a job.
Okay, so definitely a Harry Potter reference with the Dementor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are differences. It's not like the Dracar and the Dementor are the exact same. I actually always compared the Dementor to a Fade.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it really reminded me of the most, with like
There's
the
big
hood
similarities,
up
though.
and things like that.
It's just, it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, we get it that they're not exactly the
I know.
same, and they're just, whatever.
It's whatever.
It's
I mean,
hilarious, though. It's really funny.
The only problem I have, I think, with all of this Harry Potter stuff, I mean, like, I love that there's all this overlap in fantasy.
Yeah.
With Lord of the Rings, with this series, with Game of Thrones. There's tons of overlap.
Yeah.
But all of the authors give all the other authors
Yeah.
credit.
Like, don't
where
hide
credit
it.
Is
We
due.
all know it.
That's just my biggest thing lately, when we found out that J.K. Rowling says that she doesn't read fantasy,
Yeah.
and she doesn't give any credit anywhere. She doesn't give a nod or a this or a that to any other authors at any point.
It makes it harder to accept.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I still like to find the comparisons and
Oh,
things
yeah,
that are
yeah.
similar, because
I agree.
they exist.
Yeah.
So,
And I like this one. It's
and
good.
you like drinking games.
But again, I know. That's the primary reason we're bringing that up, so. But yeah, so how about this for the Dracar? So not just like a hunting beast, but it can literally suck the soul out of your body and kill you.
Yeah.
And like an Aes Sedai, as powerful as Moraine, gets caught off guard, and if she doesn't get saved here, she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy powerful.
Yes. Yeah. But just then,
Huh.
a sword
Wow.
flashes over her shoulder to get the thing right in the chest.
Yes.
And then another sword.
Yeah, it's Jim.
Yeah.
The old scraggly warder.
Yay for
but
the old
he's
warder.
still strong.
Yes.
Yes.
So Moraine feels all drained, but she thinks it's no time to be weak and reaches for Sidar, but the two warders are like too close to the Dracar and they'll get hit, and they both yell and cry out, "Embrace death!"
It's pretty cool.
and step within reach of the Dracar's kiss and drive their blades into the beast, to the hilt.
Yeah. So just to kind of like clarify the abilities of the Dracar here, the reason why it's like it can suck the soul out of your body, but Moraine does specifically say too, if you're saved before it actually kills you, you're still basically like a shell of yourself.
Oh yeah, well
Like,
that's the whole thing about the Dementor as
even
well,
if it's
right?
like a partial kiss, you're still getting killed. So
yeah, that's
yeah.
the whole, like, it sucks your soul,
Yeah.
right?
So it's bad. It's
yeah,
bad.
It's bad. So the Dracar cries out so loud that it pierces Moraine's head with like needles, and as it falls, it knocks over the old warder with its wing, and Lan sags to his knees.
Yeah. Crazy
so they're
powerful.
affected
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And so this is when Vandine and Adelius
Yep.
comes out, and Vandine takes Moraine's hands, and Moraine immediately feels like the healing. Then we also get the mention of the nimbus around her that only Moraine can see.
Yep.
And Moraine wishes that Aes Sedai could do as much for themselves as they can do for others.
Yes, and we've
we
heard
got-
that before.
Yeah, we got Swan saying that about how you can't pick yourself up, but you can pick other Aes Sedai up.
Yeah, and we also heard it when they were leaving Emmons Field, how Lan was saying to the Emmons Fielders, like, she can cure your fatigue, but she can't cure her own.
Yeah,
so,
that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So they see to healing the warders, and Adelius wants to know how that thing could have just like walked up here unnoticed like that.
Yeah, because they're supposed to have like a detect evil sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the warders for sure.
Yeah.
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 And so Moraine says that it is warded.
Ooh.
But then she snaps back and says, that's impossible. Only Aes Sedai can do that.
Oh my god, what does that mean?
But then Moraine cuts her off and says, Black Aja.
Oh my god, so that's like confirmation.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Speculation time.
Okay, so my issue right now is it's just a little too obvious to say Leandrin.
Is it like too convenient?
It's too convenient. I want to say Leandrin. It makes sense to say Leandrin. I speculated Leandrin as a Black Aja.
And she was like following Moraine.
And now we know that Moraine left and then Leandrin left.
And then all of a sudden Moraine gets attacked by a cloaked Drakkar.
Yeah, that was warded against.
Yeah, basically had to have been a
and she's
Black
like
Aja.
literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So unless it's one of these old ladies.
As like a double agent?
As a double agent.
Okay.
Or, which I really don't believe. Or.
Yeah.
If Baalzamon can somehow see where Moraine is, because he told Rand in that dream, the one in the alternate reality
the portal world.
He told Rand that he knew Moraine had already told him he's the Dragon Reborn.
Right.
And he even said, the Aes Sedai you call Moraine.
Okay.
Like, he already knew about Moraine. He knew what she had said to him and what he knew, and he was, like, using it against Rand.
Yeah.
And so maybe in some way Baalzamon is able to have a sense of where she is and what she's doing.
And, like, sent the Drakkar there.
And he, like, knows that she's kind of a problem
in
his plan of, like, trying to get Rand to his side or use the dragon for his own purpose.
So we have the sisters and Moraine saying here that like only Black Aja could like cloak the Drakkar.
So maybe
Baalzamon can also?
No. Baalzamon has control over his followers.
Okay, so he just got
he just got a Black Aja to
cloak a Drakkar. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's like the only other thing.
Not specifically Leandrin, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe specifically Leandrin. Like, that's what I'm totally led to believe, and that's what I really want to believe, and then it's just...
So it must not be that.
So it must not be that. That's my only issue, is it's too obvious.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I hate that.
Yes.
Except the problem was, this whole beggar following Rand across the world...
Was totally...
And I knew it was Fane, and then it almost seemed too obvious. Because no one else seemed to recognize that it was Fane. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not that. And I second-guessed myself.
Okay.
Because of how obvious it was.
Okay, so which way are you
leaning? And then
it
became not obvious at all.
So what is it? Is it Leandrin?
Yeah, it's Leandrin.
It's
I'm going with my gut.
Okay.
All right. I'm going with my gut. It's
Leandrin did it.
Leandrin did it.
Yeah.
She's the Black Aja.
All right.
For sure. Although we're totally led to believe that, and she's totally the red herring, and I'm definitely wrong. That's what I'm going with. Okay.
All right.
Okay, moving on. I just need to make up my mind already.
Yeah.
It's too difficult. So, anyway, they start to hear people in the village who clearly, like, heard this thing scream.
At the old lady's house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so Moraine tells them to, like, clear the dead Drakkar, and the old warder guy should go out and pretend to also not know what's going on.
Go, like, stall him, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then Adelias...
Yeah.
Starts to look like she needs to sort this puzzle out.
Yeah.
Because she's a brown Aja.
Of course.
And she asks Moraine what could have brought this thing here. And Moraine says, I have to go now.
I have to
My
leave.
planet needs me.
Oh my god, right? Poochie.
Poochie's from another planet? I guess.
Yeah. Hey. But
anyway,
she totally pieces out.
Yeah, she goes, and then I just like picture her going, woo, 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 out of the scream. I have to go now.
You know what? That's basically what happens here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fair game.
Okay. So, Moraine tells Lan to go get their horses ready. Like, they're literally leaving
right
now. Fuck now.
Well, who knows if there's like another one on the way or something.
Well, okay, so here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
Here's why I've settled on it's Leandrin.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
Of course I want to know why.
So, Moraine says that she needs letters to be sent to the White Tower.
Yep.
And Vendine asks her if she is going to find her answers where she is going.
Yeah.
And Moraine says that she may have already found an answer, she didn't know she sought. And she only hopes that she is not too late.
Okay.
So whatever that means. I think because Moraine is so bright and so always sort of on top of what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that she knows Leandrin is following her. If the plot is actually Leandrin's following Moraine.
Yeah. You think Moraine
knows.
Okay.
I think Moraine left knowing, seeing if Leandrin would follow her.
And now that she knows that Leandrin is following her, this, like, attack on her is, like, confirmation that Leandrin...
Black Aja.
Okay. I was going to say the other, even little spin on that you could take is that the confirmation that she is, like, now seeing the answer she's received is that the Black Aja exists.
Yes.
Like, before it was speculation, maybe the Black Aja doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, that's
But this is, like, the confirmation that all of her theories make sense now that the Black Aja definitely exists in her mind.
Right.
So, yeah. But, I mean, either way you go... It's like she's on to someone who's doing something. So,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Very true.
Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Yeah. And that's the end of the chapter. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is.
It's a lot of little things that happen.
I know. I'm surprised at how much we had to talk about. Actually, no, I'm not. It's a really talky chapter, which leads to a lot of speculation and theories and
Well, it's kind of funny because we were in Moraine's head so much, but we didn't really get strong answers to a lot of stuff we wanted. Like yeah, even her own thoughts.
Even her own thoughts are guarded against us.
Yes,
because they're things like I need to get answers, but I can't reveal too much. It's not like I need to get answers, so I can't reveal to her that A, B, and C.
Yeah.
She's not that open. Like, Rand's thoughts to us are wide open. Every little single thing he thinks, we know about.
Yeah.
But
very guarded thought process.
Moraine's thoughts are guarded to us even, which is, part of it.
Definitely frustrating.
Yeah. But I'm going to read on, and I'm excited.
Yeah, the next chapter is a doozy. You're going to like it.
You think so? You told me I was going to like this chapter.
But I keep forgetting that the chapters that I like are the ones with lots of information.
So is that what this one is?
No, that's not what this one is.
Ooh. Are you actually sure I'm going to like this one then?
Oh, yeah. Events happen in this one.
Okay, what's it called?
It's called The Testing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Testing.
The Testing.
The only thing I can think of is Egwene and Nynaeve.
Sure.
Because they're at the White Tower and they're showing up. Maybe to be tested?
Okay.
Maybe?
Possibly.
Otherwise...
It's not a bad theory.
Rand might be tested?
Yep.
In front of the king?
Who else could be tested?
Anyone.
Okay.
Let's get back to, Bail Doman. What's he doing?
There you go. Maybe he's going to get tested on the high seas.
Yeah, what are those White Cloaks doing? We haven't really gotten a different perspective for a little while.
No.
In the middle of a chapter of, a random character somewhere.
Here's 5 different perspectives in one chapter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay.
Time to go read.
Time to go. And this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thank you for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Kyle Smith, Joe Lott, Passion Socks, Benjamin, and Multude. Music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in because this really is part of the pattern now.